I loves me some 1 degree of Chunky B.
Now, I just have to make a comment about Chunky B. Have you ever seen him looking so good?
The panel then includes actress Lady Kazan, comedian Chunky B, and Playboy TV host Julie Strain. Chunky?
What was the question? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you right now. At this particular moment in your life, you tuned into 1 Degree of Chunky B in the Garage of Love. And we've got love in the house tonight. I'm going to tell you who this guy is in a second. And I swear to you, don't cut to him yet, okay? I swear to you, this guy makes everybody laugh. And I was talking about him, I got goosebumps. So you know it's going to be a good podcast when I open up with little chill bumps right here. Sorry to say, the man across the table, Gary Adler, not with us tonight, family obligations. And I know you wanted to see him because he just got back from Costa Rica.
It's probably all tan.
Yeah, it's all tan. And if that voice right there, take a shot of yourself right there. The Wizard of the Knobs.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's been too long.
It's been too long.
You got shin bumps?
I all over right now.
Oh, okay,
Ass
good.
bumps. Check it out. We went down for a little while, and I hope you enjoyed Dave Banks' interview with Cue the Camels. What a great, crazy guy. But in the Garage of Love right now, Gary Cannon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I wanted.
Are those legitimate goosebumps, or are you BSing?
I swear to look at that. I kid you not.
I don't know about this.
No. And you know why? Because I finally did some research. I know you, even though I want you more in my life. I want you in my rotation. What I was talking to Travis about.
Travis, is this true?
You did say that.
Yeah, okay. All
Before
right.
you got here.
Kind of creepy, but
Yeah, I was kissing up even when you weren't around.
And we live close to one another.
Santa
Very
Monica
close.
to whatever we call this, Mar Vista. I call it Culver Del Rey.
I've never met anybody that can actually walk to a Costco. You're walking distance to a Costco. That's like unheard of. But you can't though. You
Right.
can't because you'd be lugging
A lot of stuff around.
Yeah.
But did you notice the 99-cent store in between Costco and my house?
You know what's funny? Right by my house, there's a parking lot and 2 stores are in it, a 99-cent store and a Whole Foods. So I always like to play what car is at what store. And it's pretty obvious who's at the 99-cent store and who's at Whole Foods.
Right. Do they have cars, the 99 centers?
You're not going to see any Lululemon in the 99-cent store.
They have carts.
Yeah, they do.
You have to put a T at the end of that. And do you know what cart insurance costs these days? No, that was a joke.
So are we? So you're saying, and you told Travis, is that there could be more of us hanging out,
Yes,
on
that's
a
what I'm getting.
friendly basis.
And if I got to get you on my podcast in the Garage of Love and beg for your friendship,
Yeah.
I'll do it. And you know that, Wizard.
he's not above it. He's
I'm not above
that,
it.
Yeah.
I'm below it.
Listen, I'm not saying that this to be true. I don't think I'm going to hear from you after tonight. I'm just saying. I mean, because then the next guy's going to come in. You're going to have those fake goosebumps.
No. My bumps are genuine.
Okay.
Okay, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Gary and I have something in common, and it's what we do for a living.
We're both bisexual. Oh,
Yeah,
that other thing. Sorry. Go ahead.
Speaking of notes, I want to ask you
For
about
a
that. The
living,
jury's
huh?
still out on that.
I believe that. Yeah, I do.
All right, warm up, guys. We are fluffers. We are cheerleaders. We're the guys or gals that try to put the live audience in good moods. So when the star of the show comes out, they steal our thunder,
Right.
Because we made the bed, we set the table, and they get to eat and act like they cooked the whole thing.
Sure.
And tell me what's up. What are you doing?
Well, so it's crazy. I've been doing this for a long, long time. What's even crazier, and I know that I've shared this story with you before. Years ago, before I even lived in LA, I was living up in San Francisco as a comic. Came down to LA, went to go see a couple of TV shows. Went to go see a couple of tapings. One of the shows we saw was the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn at the time.
Right.
A friend of mine worked at the show, so he got us tickets. We jumped right in. And you were the warm-up guy on that
geez.
show.
Oh, geez.
And what was crazy, because I know that you've looked back at this story, you were wearing shorts at the time.
I was a short-wearing guy.
You were wearing shorts, and I remember Kilborn came out and he said, "Laundry Day." And I just remember
You were there that day.
I was there that day, and I think that was the last time you worked at that show. Was that true?
I got fired.
Yes. So we were in the audience that day, and I remember this. You won't remember this, but I remember I stood up at some point at the end of the taping, and I was like, "How about a round of applause for Chunky B?" And you gave me the double L's.
Right.
And I just remember, and it's just so funny because like years later, here we are, buddies, and it like that was probably, I don't know, 2001 maybe.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
I can't believe. Wait a second. Great memory. And I can't believe you were there the day that Kilborn, and you could tell he was just a bitter guy, man.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and he just walking through the halls, and he just had a chip on his shoulder at all times. And I was just substituting because our buddy Roger
Sure. Yeah.
was the main dude, but he was booking out, doing all kinds of sitcoms.
Right.
And then I got into the rotation, and I was getting more days and more days. But that was my get up, the shorts and the little white towel.
Sure.
Because I was always sweaty.
Right.
And then he comes up to me and goes, "Oh, whoa, nice wardrobe. You wearing shorts?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's laundry day." And then next day I get the call. Is when you're not invited back. And then when he quit, that's when Ferguson came in.
Right.
And then it's when we were all trying to grab hold of that, right?
Yeah, because I remember I was working there. So our buddy Roger did most of the days, but then would book out a couple days a week to go do sitcoms, which paid 10 times the amount of what
Sure.
these late night talk shows were paying. So I would fill in for Roger 1 or 2 days a week. And I remember I was finally starting to get into the groove of Kilborn, and I just remember opening up Yahoo News one morning and it said he was quitting, getting fired, all that. I was like, this can't be right. And it was. And then I worked on that show for a series of several months while they were trying out guest hosts.
Right.
And nobody knew who Ferguson was at the time, except they knew him from The Boss on the Drew Carey show.
Sure.
And then he took the position. I mean, I will say this. There's a difference, actually. The difference between Kilborn and Ferguson is that Kilborn, that was the persona on and off camera. Absolutely. He was that guy, right? The kind of, this kind of guy. Whereas Ferguson, out of all of my years, all of my shows, doing so many varied talk shows, game shows, sitcoms, he was the only guy that ever yelled at me for the crowd being bad. And I worked on so many shows. I worked on Carson Daly, where there were so many shows where the audience wasn't great, but he was the only guy after the monologue that pulled me out of the audience, around the corner, and started yelling at me. And you and I can both relate to this. It's like, at what point, I'll take a certain amount of responsibility, no question, but at some point, where do the writers who are making $100,000 fit into this? Like, I'm making $200.
Right. Never do you ever get, the writers. Okay, I got a similar story. I was new. I got the gig. I got the Ferguson gig. And he did the same thing to me. But he walked me down the hall right after the monologue and into the control room.
Audience is still sitting there.
Right. We're at a commercial break right now, and he pulls me right out, and he goes, "I want you to kick those motherfuckers out." And I thought to myself, he's crazy. I can't kick everybody out.
Right.
I said, "Do your job. I'll do my job. We're not kicking anybody out." And he was referring to two people that were like, not heckling, but, kind of being too loud.
Right.
I thought in my mind he wanted me to kick everybody out. So that's why I was just like, no.
Right.
The next day, people came back and said, "That's the way to stand up." You didn't
Wow.
want those,
But you had no idea Right. That's so funny. You were standing up having no idea what you were standing up
then
for.
I was a hero to the people because
Sure.
I put up, who's the new guy putting up with Ferguson?
But I think what people don't realize in our world, I think it's so transparent. What people don't realize in the world of warm-up and in the world of audience shows, because there's so many shows that go on constantly, day in and day out, 10, 12, 15 shows tape a night, they can't fill every studio audience with real crazy rabid fans. There's a few shows that can.
Right.
With Leno, when Leno was going on, Ellen, obviously, a few shows, Price is Right, whatever those are. So what most shows have to do is they have to resort to paying people to sit in the audience, which most people have no clue. They don't realize. Right. So there's so many shows that there's paid people that are making $5, $6, $7 to be there for 3 hours.
Yep.
And they're reading a book before the show starts. The minute the show starts, they put the book down. The minute the commercial comes up, they'll put the book back up.
Right.
And they really are just the burden to every warm-up guy. I'll watch other shows. I'll be like, there's that guy, there's that guy, there's that guy.
Oh, yeah.
They're all recognized from the word go. You did something that was very unique back then when you were working a lot of those shows with paid people. You held a barbecue for them.
I did an annual picnic, an audience appreciation party, because I was seeing what Gary's talking about. The same freaking faces. And when you walk in and you're driving to work and you're thinking, okay, I'm in a good mood, the sun is shining, I'm working, everything's cool. Then you walk into the studio and you see 100 people that you saw yesterday at a completely different show.
Right.
And they know you don't have any new jokes. I go, get a fucking job.
Right. It's the same people over and over again. They just jump from, and there's different warm-ups handle it differently. I think you and I embrace the paid people, and we kind of understand what's going on. But I do know that certain warm-ups are very hard on them and just very disrespectful. And my approach was always kind of like what you did, what Roger did. Embrace them. You know what I mean? Because we need them.
Right.
As badly as you want to just be like, guys, it's time for you to leave the nest. Go find a real job. Go do something.
Yep.
But you can't. Literally, I'm standing at the entrance to where the audience is loading into, greeting everybody.
Yep.
How are you? Blah, 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 blah. Like you're the host. Because once that show starts, nobody wants to hear, oh, the 60 paid audience members are bad. It's on you at that point.
Yep.
So you have to either embrace them. It's not like a comedy club where you can just say, hey, screw you guys. You really need them for and what's worse is if you're doing a sitcom and you're with these same people for 4 and 5 hours, that's the problem.
There's a whole subculture of like middle America do not understand what we deal with, nor do they know our job. Our job is to entertain. It's a fine line, and I know you have to deal with it. When you're grooving and all those paid audience members are in a mood to see Gary Cannon,
right?
Then all of a sudden your host comes out. And the energy giant, like, oh God, now we got to go to work.
Sure.
The party's over. And then, you don't want to be funnier than the host. And I can tell you stories about Howie Mandel, Deal or No Deal. I got fired 3 times. How do you get fired 3 times off a fucking game show? They kept bringing me back. And they said, well, you got to just play it down. Then I was playing it down. And then they're like, no, you can't play it down. Bring it back up. I'm like, okay, then I'm bringing it back up.
And those are because a buddy of mine did Deal or No Deal too. My buddy Steve Maison, he said that was like such a long day too.
Oh my God.
It took forever to knock out one
brutal.
episode. Right. And I think people don't understand like a sitcom. They think it's a 30-minute show. Meanwhile, 2.5 hours in, they're still on the first scene because they're reshooting, they're redirecting, they're rewriting. It's all on the fly. And meanwhile, 5 hours in. But what the paid audiences do is they make you appreciate when you finally get a show. When I worked on Lopez Tonight, and it was 300 rabid George Lopez fans where you could say anything and the room blew up, you're like, oh, wow, that's why I do this. I mean, because it's those moments. But I totally get you, because there were those times where you're having this great camaraderie with the audience, and then the show starts and they're like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, we're done. I mean, we're up here having a good time, but you can never be funnier than what's going on behind you.
Right. Which is a crack up. When you're clicking and you're pounding and you're grooving, sometimes you actually have to bring it down a little bit.
But here's what's funny. You and I both worked on The Doctors, which was crazy because that was the first season. Never thought that show would last. I think that's on season 5. But you were, and I don't even think anybody would realize this, you were a warm-up guy on Dr. Phil. Like, and it's crazy because I did warm up on Dr. Drew. Right. And my great story on Dr. Drew was they never had a warm-up. They never did. They wanted to bring in some people. They wanted to try people out because the audiences were dead. It was all paid people. And so I got out there. I knew that it was a big gig to get. They had a full season still left to tape, and I wanted it. So I remember I went out there. I bought gift cards. I brought all this stuff to give away to the audience. I paid for it out of my own money. Yep. So I get out there, and I said, you guys, when Dr. Drew comes out, we need great energy and, big smiles throughout the whole show, blah, 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 like really got him going. Well, I didn't realize that I probably should have looked at the topic before Dr. Drew came out. So I got them all smiling, and I'm like, straight up this, that, and the other. Dr. Drew comes out, and he says, we'd like you to meet Gina. Gina was, attacked and beaten behind a dumpster at Applebee's. And meanwhile, these knuckleheads don't hear what he's saying. They just hear me and the free stuff. Right. And so they're like this, like smiling to what Dr. Drew is saying. Right. So I'm trying to grab their attention. So I'm sure the control booth is just seeing people smiling at Gina's plight, that she was attacked behind a Red Robin. And it was so... Again, there are those moments over and over again that you can just rattle off because, and I did that too. When I first got a sitcom, I'd never done a sitcom before. And I got my first sitcom and I was like, I got to make sure that this goes well. I just got to make sure. So I went out and spent $300 of my own money on swag because I really wanted that audience to be the best that they were going to be. And paid audience members respond best to free crap.
They do,
Don't
but
care
they
what it is.
also get bitter if they don't get it.
Right.
So you know, if you don't have enough candy for everybody, those people will
Right. Right.
and they know how to get you. They'll just sit there, arms crossed, and you're looking over there and you're sweating, going, "Come on, dude, there's a camera right on you."
Right.
You know, oh God, I didn't even.
But when you did Dr. Phil,
Yeah.
there's a show too that's very tender topics. I mean,
Sure.
like very like so. How did you do
They
warm
would
up
tell
on
me.
that show?
They would tell me the subject matter, and they would actually think that I was modifying. Okay, we got a girl that her husband got murdered last year, and she's not doing well. I'm like, okay, let me go through the files. Okay, I got it. No, you just go out there and you just fucking do it.
But,
you know?
but how do you right? But there's no script for each different topic. But like, how do you even do warm up for a show like that where it's primarily a very serious show?
Because Dr. Phil is so egotistically driven that he wants that power when the thing goes up and he walks out.
Right.
Oh man! And you know, did I ever tell you the story that he called me a retard?
I knew that, but here's the other funny story I remember. They would pay you to start the show,
Right.
and then you could leave immediately. And wasn't there a time where you were in your car heading home,
Yeah.
and they had a huge technical issue,
Right.
And they're like, "Please come back," right?
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
already halfway home,
Yeah,
right?
I'm halfway home. You know, I love, you know, something, and I'm not dogging the whole production of Dr. Phil, and I'm not even dogging Dr. Phil, but I thought he actually got cooler that he called me a retard behind my back. And he was talking to the stage manager. Stage manager, I have lunch with every freaking day. And he's just like, "Hey, dude, just want to let you know, Dr. Phil called you a retard." Because you know what they would do? They run up to me right before the show starts and like, "Okay, we're going to do this playback. We're going to do this. Wait for the cue. Applaud. Stop them immediately. Then start them back up." I'm like, "Can't we just clap and start the fucking show?"
Right.
And then I messed up, Gary, and I'm kidding you not, maybe a 2-second, never made air, nothing to do with it. And he goes to the stage, "Man, what's wrong with Chunky B? Is he a retard?"
Wow.
I'm like, dude, I thought that was awesome.
You know, my favorite part of Dr. Phil is he still does it to this day. He'll be on stage ending the show, and it'll be like couples that are divorcing, or she attacked him, and you raped me, this, that, and the other thing. Right. All of a sudden, he says goodnight, leaves them on stage, grabs his wife, and heads to the back room. It's like,
yeah,
and you could see them in a distance. Like, why did they just abandon us here?
Right,
like, it's
right.
so like, but yet his wife has to go out there
the
too.
handshake, yeah.
It's so weird.
But I want to let you know, I don't like that word retard. You know, I do not use that in my day-to-day operations, okay? So if anyone's going to tweet me or Facebook me about the word retard, I don't use that.
But it's interesting that a guy who comes across as stoic as he does
Right.
would use that word. You know what I mean? And I have never worked his show. I don't know anything about his show, but I will say this, consistently, because you meet camera people, audio people that work on all these different shows. Everybody just travels like a circus.
Right.
Consistently hear that is the worst show to work on. Consistently.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Do you know when he sits there and has that woman crying and is, "We will get you help. We will get you help in your neighborhood." There's a guy that's in the office that calls and says, "Can you help these people from the Dr. Phil show?" And they get nothing. They don't get a dime. The doctors at Dr. Phil, they think that they're going to be on the credits or get an award or something. Dr. Phil does nothing to the local doctors that help the people. Whoa. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it is funny you say that, Chunky, because there was a woman who called up the Howard Stern show not too long ago, and she said she was on Dr. Phil, left the show thinking that there was going to be all this pomp and circumstance, and there was nothing.
Right.
So it is funny. I mean, this crazy world that we live in, and don't get me wrong, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I just remember thinking, this was, I don't know, right before Christmas, and I was working on a show doing warm-up, and it was a Friday night, and I just remember thinking, wow, everybody's getting ready right now for the holidays. They're out Christmas shopping, they're doing this and that, and meanwhile, I'm jumping around leading 300 people into the YMCA. And I was like, this is a pretty good gig. You know what I mean? And sitcom money's crazy good.
Yes.
And I just got to thinking, wow, I can work one day a week and be great. And there were times over like the last 6-8 months, where I was dealing with a lot of health issues, still am, but like where you realize that you can work 1 or 2 days, make a nice little ton of coin, and then be done with it. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling. It's also a good feeling too, to be able to, after been doing it for so long, to hear what somebody's willing to pay you, and you're like, shove it up your ass. Like, I'm just not. I'm not leaving. No. I'm not leaving the house for that kind of money. I mean, even if you were filming it in front of my house, I'm not walking outside for the money. And the minute you walk away, a stage manager once told me, who was really funny at the time, he said, whenever he got calls for shows that were paying very little money, he would say, hey, listen, because they would tell you, we have no money. And he would say, well, I too have no money. But if between now and the start of the show, you guys find a bag of money, please give me a call.
Yep.
And just crazy enough, so most of the time they'd find that money.
Yes.
And they would call you.
You know what I did the other day? They promised me it was a quickie, right? It was like, you get in, it's a presentation. And Frank Nicotero, you know Frank?
Sure.
Good friend of mine. He was actually one of the hosts on this pilot.
Okay.
And I got a call, and Frank even just gave me a heads up. Hey, listen, dude, they're gonna call you. Trust me, they don't have any money, but do whatever you can. And they called me, and I said, okay, we don't have any money. We don't have any money. And I go, okay. And they said, what will you charge us? I go, well, can you find 700? And he goes, yeah, we can find 700. I go, if you can find 7, that means you can find 9. I'll do it for 9.
It's almost like that Priceline thing when you bid for a hotel and you put in 100 and they accept. You're like, I think I could have gotten this thing for 70.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's funny.
That's my new thing. You can borrow that too. I'll do it for 5. If they say yes, okay. If you get 5, make it 9.
Well, I think I've shared this story with you before. Like years ago, game shows are very difficult to warm up because it's a lot of paid audience members. They're long days. They're pains. You did Deal or No Deal. Our buddy Roger did Minute to Win It. Like they're very, very challenging. And years ago, I was broke. No shows were calling. I got a call to fill in for our buddy Tommy Riles. He was doing a show called Baggage, hosted by Jerry Springer.
I loved it. I did watch it.
You did it too?
No. I never worked on it. I watched it.
I love the show. It was a great show. I mean, really
You know
a
what
great
show
show.
we're talking about?
No, it's
Like a
baggage.
dating show.
You want to give them the quick heads up?
You do it.
All right. You say there's 3 people up there, and they talk about your background and your issues.
Nice.
It's your issues, and then you get to the last, and there's a couple standing, and then they just drop the bomb on how bad this guy is, and then you basically decide if you want him or not.
Right. So basically, let's say there's 3 of us, and there's the hot girl over here. We all open up these suitcases that say some form of baggage that we're carrying, right?
Right.
But the girl doesn't know whose bag goes to which person.
Right.
So then the girl says, well, I can't, like, I'm not interested in the guy that's baggages. I still wet my bed. So she'd say, I can't deal with that baggage. So then we pick whose that was, and then would slowly start to dwindle down.
Right. Nice.
So, but what people didn't realize, that half-hour show took 2 hours to film, and they called me and they said the money was really low, but they said it's super easy. Whenever they say that, it's a kiss of death.
Sweet Jesus.
Kiss of death. So it was $500 for an all-day deal for maybe like 8-9 hours. They film like 4 or 5 shows, all paid audience members. So they were on me from the word go, just not enough energy. The crowd stunk, boom, 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 boom. So finally, it was maybe the second show right before lunch, and this young producer comes over to me. He's like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you entertaining these people? I'm like, well, we're on a bathroom break right now. I mean, like, I didn't bring my juggling balls. I mean, they can sit for a few seconds by themselves, no problem. The guy said, we're just not getting the energy we need. So I said, let me talk to you for a second. So I pulled him off to the side, and I said, we both know this gig isn't paying what it should pay. I said, we have 3 options. We can keep the money at $500 all day, and you just leave me alone for the rest of the day. Don't come talk to me.
But
We can triple the money, and you can just come hound me the entire day. Or C, we just cut our losses, and I'll leave at lunch. And to have the balls to do that, especially I didn't have other work coming in, and I was just so fed up that the studio was in Van Nuys. I think it was probably where you did the Marie Osmond, just like Satakoy. Yeah. And so the guy looks at me, he's like, hold on a minute. And I was like, great, no problem. Comes over to me. A few minutes later, he's like, we're just gonna part ways right now. And I said, great. And the crazy thing was, he said, we'll pay you for the rest of the day. And that was it.
Nice.
It felt so great to be, because again, like, I think you and I both know this. I'll take a gig for little money if you treat me great.
Yeah.
No problem. I get it. I get it. But the minute you're like, hey, we don't have any money, but then from the minute you walk in the door at 8 a.m., they're like, what's going on? Why is this? It's like, it's 8 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, let's slow down.
Right.
You know, it's you know what shows are the worst? Like the VH1 shows, the MTV shows. I did a show years ago called Tool Academy. Remember there was a show on the VH1 called, Travis, you remember that show? Show called Tool Academy. And they called me and they said, hey, it's going to be a great day. We're going to have 100 rabid fans here at the show. It's going to be great. So I was like, no problem. I said, what time do you want me to get there? They're like 8:30. So I got there at 8:30. They said they're going to load the audience right after that and start taping at 9. I get there at 8:30. I get to the gate. There's nobody there. I was like, are they inside already?
Yeah.
I walk inside. And the production manager comes over. He's like, we're in trouble. He's like, only 2 people showed up. And I was like, well, now what? And he's like, we got a guy driving around a van.
Oh, no.
And he's trying to look for audience members on
Oh,
Hollywood
sweet
Boulevard. And I was like, well, this is fantastic. Well, this is going to be the cream of the crop
All right,
right
listen,
here.
hold on. Oh, I want you to hold that thought right there because we're going to take a quick little break, and I want to hear what happened with these two people. But before we take this break, if you want to get your quack on, all right, check this out. This is Dogtown Duck from Duck Brewery, which is our favorite beer.
That stuff's great.
Yeah, and I want to let you know, John Henry and Christian are great supporters of this beverage. They actually drive a case of beer a week over here.
It's beautiful.
All right,
Beautiful beer.
we're coming back with Gary Kennan, and I want to hear the end of the story with that driving around the van thing. But right now, we're just taking a pause for the cause, and you know it's just going to be a second, so don't even go anywhere. We're just doing this to let you know what we like. See you in a second. You guys have got to check out our brand new sponsor, Venice Duck Brewery. You want to get your quack on? Taste some of this.
Hi, Winston Giles here in Los Angeles, California from 1 Degree of Chunky B, and our artist of the week this week is Fascinator. Australian Johnny, now out of New York, and the song's called Mr. Caterpillar.
Hey, everybody, this is comedian Gary Cannon, and you're listening to 1 Degree of Chunky B.
As we're enjoying the duck, Venice Duck, we're also talking about the Amazon. If you guys go to the website, chunkybee.tv, and go browsing on that Amazon button, it'll change your life. It'll make you a better person. And I think who can verify that is my friend Gary Cannon. Can you verify that?
Yes, I can. But first of all, let me just say this. I do generally, 8 to 10 podcasts a day. I'm in demand. And this could be one of my top 4 favorites today.
Hey, we're getting on up there.
Pretty good.
Moving
Yeah.
on up.
Yeah, it's pretty
Finally
good.
got a piece of the pie. Name a sitcom. Finally got a piece
Jefferson.
of
I wonder who did warm up on that thing.
Yeah. All right, so dude, you are without an audience. You've got a
Right.
PA driving around in a van trying to pick up audience members.
Well, how creepy does that look, first
That's
of all?
spooky.
That's like Amber Alert creepy, just driving around in a van. So, of course, the show that was supposed to start at 9, and all of a sudden it's starting at 11:30. And, of course, they said we were going to get out of there at 7. Now we're getting out of there at 11 o'clock. And it just turned into a miserable day. I mean, of just, but I will say the one thing I loved about that show, and we talked about this, is that they were always super nice. They were just, when you get those shows that are great, great people, you can't go wrong. I mean, that's all you ask for. I mean, it's always fun, too, when you do these shows. Like I did a couple of shows in Vegas. I warmed up like the finale of Cake Boss, like right out in front of the Venetian Hotel. Like that was really, really cool. And, What Not to Wear, just a couple like TLC shows. Like those are always fun because they don't do enough shows where they have nothing to compare it to. So they don't really know that the audience is supposed to be here. They're just so low key about it. Like those are the great shows to do.
I know it.
Yeah, they're awesome. Whereas the game shows, that world's very difficult because, they know what they want. It's never good enough. They're always browbeating you.
And it's all about the reaction.
Right.
It's all about and when you've got so many bells and whistles doing a game show, there's so much reactions. If you watch the next game show, see how much reactions for the audience. They've got to pay attention. Ooh, oh yay.
Right.
It's emotional.
Right.
And it's a fucked up situation where you've got a whole group of people that are not catching on. How about the sleepers? What do you do about a sleeper?
Ooh, well, it is crazy. Yeah, I mean, there are those people. The other thing too, you have to worry about. I'll never forget this. When I first started doing Kilborn, our buddy Roger, who was the primary guy there at the time, said, if you ever get a group in there from UCLA baseball, the UCLA baseball team, you're screwed. Like they're just very testosterone-y. They don't want to play the game.
They're
just
too
want
cool.
Right. So I remember second day I was still trying to get the gig. I'm like, do we have any groups out here? UCLA baseball. And they, from the word go, were just like, I was like, hey, let's, we'll need to laugh. And they're like, I'm like, I'm screwed. Like, this is not going to go well. You know what I mean? The sleepers are the worst. There's one time I was just doing a show and the audience was coming in, and as they were coming in, they were like putting their pants on. Like they literally, it's almost like I get every show that the only way that you can enter our studio is if you have a face tattoo. Like, I mean, they're literally prisoners. You know what I mean? Like
the rehab centers.
Yeah.
I do Jim Rome once a month on Showtime.
Yep.
And that's all their audience is. When you see multiple white vans in the parking lot and you see all these guys coming out and they got the spider on the neck tattoo, you know you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know you're fucked.
From the word go. Or how about this? When you first start off the show and you're like, hey guys, who's ready for the Boom 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 show? And then there's just nothing. And you're like, this is going to be a long.
Right.
The difference. I mean, the good thing about a talk show, not that it's any easier, but like at least you're only with them for an hour. Like you just got to barrel through it.
Right.
And I just did Chelsea lately. I filled in for our buddy Jesse, and like that show is half an hour. So
Right.
you're in and out very, very quickly. So you just got to keep that energy up for 30 minutes. But when you're doing a talk or a sitcom that's 4 and 5 hours, retake, that's the challenge of getting those people on board for the whole time. It's just difficult.
Yeah, and then you got the pizza break. They bring pizzas,
Sandwiches. Yeah.
and that just fucks up the whole groove. And they go in different directions.
Worst show you've ever worked on?
Worst show that I have ever worked on. Might have been Soap Talk. With Lisa
Yeah.
Rinna. But the reason they made it good is because they put me on an on-air sidekick.
Okay.
But it was a Saturday and a Sunday, and every single day was the same group of people.
Right.
And it got so redundant. The only thing that kept me going is when I would read the the rundown if I was on the show or not.
Right. That would save it.
Right.
Yeah.
Any kind of airtime, I'm just like a whore for that. And it was.
Did you get on a lot when you did Sharon Osbourne? Because you did
Sharon
that show.
Osbourne I was like basically her sidekick.
You got her refrigerator on that set, right?
It's still in my yes.
Is it really?
It is still in my kitchen. Thank you for remembering. Nobody believes
that.
me.
I remember
Sharon,
that. Yeah.
And I work with Kelly Osbourne.
Okay.
And here's another thing. Here's a bizarre thing. I really like working with Kelly and Melissa Rivers and Joan Rivers.
Okay.
Right, over at Fashion Police. I just got this gig. It's once a week. It's very little money, but it's I'm doing it Thursday, and I'll be driving home by 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
But Joan demands all gay guys. in the
Really?
audience. Yeah. Yeah. And I have got to have a little pep in my step. No, I know, Cannon, you're natural because the jury's still out on you. I don't know if you're a dude or a
So
chick.
it is funny. It is funny. By the way, I have a very cute, smoking 30-year-old girlfriend
I
who's
heard.
like 13 years younger than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who I met in Vegas on a one-night stand, and we're still together 5 years later. It's crazy.
Are you living with her?
Yeah, we live together. We've been living together
fuck.
for like 4 years. But what's crazy, and I agree with you, because people will finally meet my girlfriend after years of not meeting her, and they'll be like, "Oh wow, she really does exist." People do not believe it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
But you got that metroness about
Yeah, I
you.
agree. Sure. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I embrace it.
Right. I don't.
Right.
I mean, dude, I'm still like, just here I am. Just got out of the, I'm here. And these gay guys are all looking just gelled. And I'm sitting there, barely got 2 socks that match.
Right.
And I got to act a little gay. I do some gay stuff. And and I found the gayer I act, the better they respond.
Do they does that production crew think that you're gay? Or
No. They all know.
Okay, they
all
know.
know.
What about Joan?
Joan knows because the reason I got the gig, Joan Rivers' grandson used to play lacrosse with my son.
Okay.
Right. And so I kept in touch with Melissa Rivers. I knew Melissa just from lacrosse, not from television.
Funny.
And I was on Saturday night. Did I?
No.
Did you see the tweet? I tweeted you. I'm like, oh my God, we got Gary Cannon coming to the
Yes.
show. Right away, you hung up the phone with me, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Just want to let you know I was bragging about you.
But wait a minute, you were on the show,
I was on Joan Knows Best. It's a reality show.
right?
Yeah.
10 o'clock. I remember she was promoting it, but I've not seen the show yet.
Okay, you've got to see it. I'm on it. I'm a lacrosse coach, and Melissa Rivers and I have a conflict because she was supposed to hire my wife as a wardrobe, person on her show.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Melissa looked at the resume and found that my wife lied on it, so she didn't hire my wife. So I retaliated by not playing Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah, so Cooper had to sit the bench, and then Melissa Rivers not so happy, and so that's the bullshit.
How long does that take to shoot?
It was a one-day thing,
Uh-huh.
but we shot it like 5 months ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I'm like, I guess I missed it. And then all of a sudden I got an email saying, oh, your episode's coming up. And I nailed it. I want everybody to watch it. I did that whole Facebook thing and the Twitter thing. If you haven't seen it, find it. I'm the lacrosse coach. Who else is on the show that, Oh, come on.
Where can we find it? Can we find it online?
It's
or?
on Wii, yeah.
Okay.
Look on
On E?
on
What
Wii, W-E.
Oh,
Wii.
Wii.
Yeah,
Wii,
not
the Wii
E.
Network. I thought you said E. Okay, gotcha.
No.
What episode was that? Because they just started it.
Episode 4.
Okay, because they just started premiering that
Right.
show a couple weeks ago, so I knew it was probably early on.
Carmen Electra.
Oh,
was
wow,
on it.
okay.
But I didn't do any scenes with her, but I did a love scene. There was no cameras with her. And to be honest with you, she wasn't even there. But
With the idea.
See what I did?
Right.
We see.
Hey, speaking of comedy,
Yeah.
tell me, are you doing stand-up? Because I keep calling you to do my show.
You know what's crazy? I love doing stand-up. I love
Right.
getting on the road. It's funny because I work on this sitcom right now called Sullivan and Son, and it's with 4 talented comics. Steve Byrne is the guy that's behind it. He's the star of it. Ahmed, Roy Wood Jr., and Owen Benjamin. They're all buddies that are in this bar comedy on TBS. And so what's great is it's our 3rd season. We're taping it. And then after we wrap this season, and this will be our 3rd time doing it after this season as well, we head on a big summer tour. And what we do is the idea behind it is to promote the show that's airing as we're out on tour. So the great thing is we get to go to all these cities. Last year we
And are you
did.
still warming it up? Are you?
So I host it. I host the summer
oh,
tour.
oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
So we go out. I host the tour. Do 10 minutes. Bring each of the guys up. They each do 20. All of it's taken care of. Airfare, hotel, all that stuff. And last year the tour ended in Maui, and it was the greatest thing ever. Yeah. So we went to Seattle. We went to where else did we go? New York, Boston, like just all over the place, just jumping all over town. And then it ended in Hawaii last year. So this year we'll finish up in July. Immediately jump on the road because the idea is to just go out on radio and promote the show as we're out there. And this year it ends. We're going to do a cruise to Alaska, and it's going to end there. And I think about taking my mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What
So
a
I
good
love doing
son.
I love doing stand up. I really do. But you were talking about jazz. I just did. My mom is a huge jazz fan, but one of her favorite jazz guys is Dave Koz.
Right. Dave Koz.
Do you know Dave Koz?
Yes, of course.
So Dave Koz and I met years ago. I was working on this talk show in New York called the Emeril Lagasse Show. He had a daytime talk show,
Right.
13 episodes, and Dave was the band leader on this show. So my parents at the time were big fans. They loved Dave. My father's since passed on, but they were big fans. So I went up to Dave and I said, hey, my dad was a big fan of yours before he passed away, but my mom still is. So I got to know Dave pretty well, and then Dave does a cruise every year to Alaska, like a 7-day cruise for his fans.
Yeah.
I got to be the comic on board the cruise.
Shut up.
And that I brought my mom a couple years ago. So she loved it. She got this, all access to see Dave and all these other people. Jeffrey Osborne was on the cruise. Just so Mindy Abar, Keiko Matsui, like all these great people. And I got to do that, and that was just awesome. So I want to take my mom on this second cruise.
Yeah.
Because I think that I might be able to bang her. But let me just say, I was
Usually
looking at this
takes
paper.
two.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
very-
zoom, Didn't
But
see that
I
one
love,
coming.
I love stand. I love working the road. I just got home. I was in Phoenix a couple weekends ago, working a club, and again, like all you want them to do is take care of you because working the road stinks. It's the money's garbage. They don't need to pay you because they got 1,000 other guys that will do it either for free or cheaper.
Yeah.
And I'm not a draw, so it doesn't matter. They're not going to pay me, but I love going as a weekend away, just a weekend
Sure.
to decompress. The shows are secondary. I'm going to be going to Phoenix again in a couple weeks and working with John Lovitz for the
nice.
weekend, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
I got a stand-up story, which I'm just getting back into it. I'm not really. There's a difference between stand-up and warm-up.
Completely.
And a lot of people that do stand-up think warm-up is easy because
No.
no. You've seen people crumble.
Tons.
Yeah, but I was doing the Ferguson show, and a guy there owns a spot up in outside of San Francisco. I'm gonna fly you up there, Junkie, and then you're gonna do your thing. I was opening up for Sinbad.
Okay.
And I got to the gig, and it was a huge steakhouse comedy place, right? Tom's, I think it is. It's pretty famous up north. And I got up on stage. They introduced me, the local radio dude introduces me. I get up, and I forgot. I haven't done stand-up in so long. The lights went out, and the spotlight went on. And you and I, normally, when we're warming up,
Sure.
we see the people from me to you away.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, forgot about this. And then all kids with their family eating steaks. And
Oh, wow.
you hear the clinking and the, and I'm like, I don't have a routine for kids.
Right.
I went up there and bombed immensely.
How much time did you have to do?
They wanted me to do 15. I did like 4.
Yeah.
And I walked up, I got off stage. I introduced Sinbad. He came up. We, did the fake hug like we were best friends. And the owner came up, was like, what happened? I go, dude, you never told me there was going to be kids in the audience. He's like, oh, yeah, it's a family place. I'm like, well, thanks for burning that bridge. Did I hear from him again? No.
You know what the worst is? I've done some corporate gigs,
Yeah.
and those things can be great money, but you're dealing with just a lot of nonsense. I mean, you're dealing with like a ton of it because, they're out there enjoying time with their other coworkers that they don't want to be with.
Yeah.
And so I just remember once I did it was a holiday party, and it was at Morton Steakhouse down in Irvine.
Sure.
And I was only supposed to do 15 minutes, and I started doing my thing, and people just weren't into it, And I could see from the back, the woman who hired me was standing back there, and I was about 4 minutes into the 15-minute set, and I see her grab something on the table and start walking towards me. And as she got closer, I saw it was an envelope, and she whispers to me, she's like, "You're done," and pulls me outside and hands me my check, and she's like, "That's all we need." And it was at that moment, because I'd done others that were just as bad. It was at that moment because I learned something that night. I apologized to her. I said, "I'm sorry it didn't go better than that." And I learned that night never to apologize. I learned that it's you guys. I know I'm good.
Right.
If you guys have a stick up your ass, go F yourself. It's not me. Yeah. I know I'm funny. You guys can go back to your miserable cubicles on Monday.
Right.
I'm going back home. I don't have to work on Monday. And it really is one of those things. I did another gig in Vegas where the woman told me before I went on stage, she's like, "Hey, just so you know, they've been drinking all day. This might be a little rowdy." And I said, "Well, I got to be honest with you. It's probably not conducive for comedy then." I said, "Can we do something else?" She's like, "No, we want you to do it." And literally 3 or 4 minutes into a 20-minute set, they pulled me off. They refused to pay me. I had to really fight them for a long time to get my money. The woman posted a negative review about me, and I was like, "I'm going to wait till I get my money, and then I'm going to shit on them because they were disrespectful to me." Again, you don't put somebody up in an environment where it was in the round too. So I'm standing in the middle of this restaurant, people behind me, people in front of me. It's like, yeah, people don't get it. Like, in order for comedy to go well, everything needs to be set up right. And even then, there's this X factor of maybe it won't.
Right.
But when everything is set up wrong, but I learned something that first night when I did that steakhouse, that holiday show. Never, ever, ever apologize. Because it's not you. It's I've done this a million times.
I know what you're doing.
Of course. So it makes all the difference. It absolutely does.
Yeah. If you were not doing comedy, not doing stand-up, not doing warm-up, what would it be?
I would have to say I'd probably be a teacher. I think I'd be a high school teacher.
Yeah.
Because I'd like
You'd probably be in prison by now.
You think I would be?
They wouldn't let you near
I don't think you're right. I think you're right. But I always wanted to be like that cool teacher, the one that like, listen, I don't care if you cheat. Like, just don't let me catch you. You know what I mean? Like, you're always that like kind of guy. Like, there was always that one cool teacher in school that was always like, he always wanted to get his class.
Right.
And then you got the other guys, and you're like, oh shit, everybody else is having a beach party in the other room.
Right.
But I always thought that would be great.
Where'd you grow up?
Michigan.
But
I never, here's a crazy story. Before I got into stand-up and I knew I wanted to do stand-up, I had to make money to supplement my stand-up income. So what I did was when I was starting comedy in San Francisco, this would have been back in like 98, I needed cash. So I didn't want to do the typical work at a restaurant, work at Starbucks, do whatever. So what I would do is I would take these jobs working for large companies, and I would be a sales rep for these companies, right? So I would go in, flash and dash, tell them exactly what I'm bringing to the table. I would say, I'm bringing you guys this huge account base that I have. I'm going to bring all of my ex-clients over to you, and they want to buy. And they would be like, well, why would they want to buy something from us? They don't even know what we sell. And I'd be like, they want to buy from me. They really don't care what it is. I've developed these great relationships with 300 people. They want to buy from me. Meanwhile, there's no 300 people.
Right.
All bullshit. There's no 300 people.
Nice.
These companies would hire me. They'd start me off at a high base salary, 60, 70 grand, right? Because with any sales job, after 3 months, you go down to nothing. It's all commission because they figure you've built up your client base at that point. So at that point, your base salary gets pulled. It's all commission. Well, I knew I'm not lasting 3 months anyway. So what I would do, it was like clockwork. I did this for like about 3 years before I moved to LA. I would jump ship at about the 2.5 month mark before they were about to fire my ass because I would never have any sales. They would always say to me, well, what's going on? Don't you have any of these sales? I'd be like, so close, so close, so close. Meanwhile, my team members who are counting on me for a team bonus, they're getting pissed because I'm just bullshitting what I'm bringing in each month, not working. So at about the 2.5 month mark, I would start shopping around. And the great thing about sales is that when you start interviewing for a new company, they won't call your old company because they don't want to jeopardize that. Right. Because if you go in there and you walk the walk and talk the talk, like they are willing to listen to what you have to say. And this would always work every time. So let's say I was working at ABC Company and looking to jump to the other XYZ company. They would say, why are you leaving ABC Company? And I had the line that just melted them in 2 seconds. I would say, they want to cap my commissions. and I would say to them, I want to make much more money. They're not allowing that. And I want to come work for you guys. You guys don't do that, do you? And they would always look at me. They'd be like, not here, we don't. No. So I would then quit that job, move to the next one. They'd start me off 50, 60, 70 grand, right? Paid for my cell phone, car allowance, everything. And here's the other great thing. I'd never have to be in the office.
Right.
Because they would say to me, hey, don't you need a manager to come out with you? No. That'll scare the customer off.
Right. Too many people.
I got this under control. Meanwhile, I was going to see movies. I was going home for the day. I didn't do shit.
Oh my God.
Nothing. I did this for so long. And I worked large companies that had that kind of money to shell out. And I remember the last time I did it, I finally moved to LA and I worked for a company very close to you. It was over in Marina Del Rey. You know where that Pete's Coffee is?
Yeah.
So there was an office there. It was a company I used to work for. And it was just me and another guy. And he hired me because he knew me from another job. And I remember I told him, I got all these contacts, blah, 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 blah. So I used to go out during the day, and rather than go home, I used to go see shows. Right. I used to go hang out at Kilbourne and blah, 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 like learning. And then I finally got offered the Kilbourne gig, and then I ended up quitting. And that was my final sales job. And looking back at that would have been in 2003.
Oh my God.
So 11 years doing this, but I managed for a long time to make a great living fooling these sales companies. I would get, at the end of the year, I'd get 5 tax returns, 5 W-2s. You know what I mean? I did it all the time. And just, and then the other times they'd go in, they'd be like, hey, most sales guys, when they start hitting their number, they like to go play golf. What's your thought about that? And I looked at the guy and be like, I hate golf.
Golf sucks.
And they just ate it up. I mean, and again, they would never check the references, never anything.
Right.
They'd bring me on board, send me an offer letter, 60 grand. And that was the beauty of it, because they didn't want to go out with me, because if they tried to force their way in, I'd be like, guys, you're going to lose this sale for me.
Right.
Right. And they'd be like, how's the sales coming? Great. Just need a couple more weeks and going to close it. And then I was out of there before they knew what happened.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. I was like the Lone Ranger. It was great.
That's crazy.
There was no need to work at a day job or a Starbucks or a restaurant job.
Now, do you ever go on auditions? Do you have an agent?
No, it's crazy. I don't. I mean, I looking, at things this year. I mean, I would love to go out and maybe start hosting and try to get into that. But it's always funny. This. It's crazy because people ask me that all the time, like voiceovers or commercials. Like, I used to have a commercial agent, and then have you done commercial auditions? Yeah. It's a grind. It really
sucks.
It really does suck, and it's one of those things where you're like, you'll get a call, Friday or Thursday night. They'll be like, hey, listen, we need you down in San Diego tomorrow at 4:00 in a bear suit.
Yeah.
Guys, no to all of that. And then you're standing there with so many other people. It's always a thing, like, you think you nailed it, never get a call back. Other times it just went shitty. And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think the money in commercials is what it used to be, where people are like, I made $300 million from that one Geico commercial. It's like, well, you're full of shit. Right.
No one does it anymore. It's
Nobody
all
does.
buyouts, man.
It's all buyouts. So, I look back and, do I want more? Sure, absolutely. But things are good. I'm really happy with where things are. And again, life almost gets in the way too. It's like, because I'm sure you'd love to do more in this, but then you realize, I got a family, I got a kid. All of a sudden the day's over with, the month's over with. We were just talking. The last time I saw you was November. It's like, where did the 4 months go by?
Oh, shit.
So you would love it if you could do more, but then you always look, well, I'm very happy with, because we get this all the time. People will come up to you when you're doing warm-up. It's like, I want to do what you're doing.
Oh my God.
And then I always give the same line: go hang out at shows, go do this, go do that. You'll never see those people again.
Right.
Never,
right.
Because they don't want to put the work in.
It is a true pain in the ass to bust into being a warm-up guy.
Huge. Well, there's only a handful of us that do it.
Yep.
There really is. I mean, then I'll hear about some new person that I never heard of before, and it's like, wow, but how many people would you say do it? 12?
12. I would go around anywhere from 12 to 15. And it's so bizarre to hear somebody's name that you're like, how did they get in?
Yeah, it's really, but it's funny because it is those moments, like I was saying, that Friday night before Christmas, where I was like, this is a great gig. You know what I mean? It really is just this fun, creative way to make money where, so many other people are, not doing what they love. They go into it. When I was in Phoenix a couple weekends ago, I was walking around this courtyard by a huge office complex, and you just see these tables of people with their little name badges on because they're getting ready to head back into Wells Fargo, wherever they're from, and they're sitting around tables like, boy, Mary's a bitch. And then you walk to the next table and you'd be like, oh, Linda's a bitch. And that was Linda talking about Mary. It's
Right.
like, it's a never-ending cycle of misery. You know what I mean? I saw my parents for years doing jobs that they hated.
Sure.
And I was like, boy, I never want to do that.
The beauty of it is when you're clicking and you're right in the pocket, you're in the groove. I think to myself, fuck, I'd do this for free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When everybody's responding and you just make one little facial movement and the plate.
Yeah. It's absolutely when you have everybody in the palm of your hands.
Yeah.
It's the greatest gig ever.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Listen to me. We barely hit the tip of the iceberg. And I say this with all sincerity. Will you come back? Because we've got about fucking 8 more shows of you.
I'm booked those weekends. But if I were open, I mean, that I would be. I mean, if I could do those shows, but I'm out of town those weekends. But absolutely. But good luck to you. And I heard you were nominated for People's Choice, so good luck on that. And this just dropped to my 6th favorite podcast of the 18 that I did earlier today.
Right.
Ouch.
I would love it.
Another thing is I want you to do stand-up. I put these shows on. Over at the Scarlet Lady in Culver City. And we're getting a groove. We're starting to get our traction. And you need to be up on that stage.
Yeah, I would love it.
You'll be doing me a big favor.
When's your next one? Do you know?
It's going to be in the middle of May. And you will be properly notified because you are going to be more in the circulation of communication in the Garage of Love, even outdoors. And just bringing your so-called girlfriend that I have never met. Have you met her?
No.
Well,
you did meet her, though. You did meet her when I was here in May or in November. She dropped. Remember, she picked me up.
Hey, wait a second. What's going on with the car situation? You guys share a vehicle?
Well, we share a vehicle, but the bigger picture is months ago I was hit with a pretty severe eye issue, like a macular degeneration eye issue, where my vision is slowly going away. Which I mean, but I had surgery on the right eye at UCLA. Yeah. And it should come back, they said 6 to 8 months, because it's not like LASIK or cataract surgery where they go and zap it out and it's better. What happens is the retina is like all scar tissue and all this other stuff. And so they go in there and remove the scar tissue and then it has to reflatten itself back out. So that takes like 8 months. So the truth is, like, my vision in both eyes is probably like 20/40. Now, are there people out on the streets driving with 20/40 vision? Yeah, there's probably people driving with worse than that, but I don't feel comfortable.
Okay.
It's so crazy because my eye stuff happened last June. And I remember if somebody would have told me, like, hey, almost a year later, you're not going to be driving, I'd be like, you're full of shit. I'll be driving. And so it's amazing, like, how you make changes in your life to adapt to not being able to drive.
Well, did you drive here tonight?
She dropped me off. And then she'll pick me up. Yeah. So but it's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just how you kind of figure it out. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good way to... Wait a second.
Let's talk about you going blind.
How about your hemorrhoids? How are they?
It's a good ending note.
Right.
And the wizard here...
It would be better if I was going deaf, then that would be a benefit to listening to this show.
Why
would I say that? No, that's not...
Where are you going with that? The wizard always has some knowledge that he shares or a question. You have anything for Gary?
First of all, I'd like to commend you for conning those fucking companies out of some money. Because they sound like fuck sales companies.
Let me just say this. Here was, and I'm not justifying anything, but here's what maybe this is why I'm going blind years later. Somebody's attacking me with a doll, but we'll get that guy. But here's what I will say about the companies. It was always these companies that were pissing money away nonstop. I hate those kind of companies. I would never go into like a mom and pop company where I was stealing their last loaf of bread. Sure. I mean, these were companies that would spend $300,000 for, a little party, and yet they were laying off 100 of those people that were there the following week. So, I mean, I never felt guilty about it. I truly
They're not checking your credentials or doing any of the work, so it's just like almost easy pickings for you.
You know what it shows you, Travis? Here's what it shows you. It shows you nobody's doing their job. And if they are doing their job, they're doing it shitty. Nobody's ever, they're just not following up. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And I looked at it this way. If they were going to check, well, I wasn't going to get that job anyway. So I was okay with moving on. And what are they going to get me for a felony? I mean, like, it was no big deal. So I never felt that guilty about it. I mean, I really didn't. And I think the one thing I had going for me was that I would come in there and just be very likable to everybody.
Yeah, sure.
So they didn't get pissed at me until the very end.
Right.
And then they'd be like, well, this guy. Yeah. Because once you start figuring it out, then
they're on to you.
Yeah, because most new salespeople, they want you to be in that office every single day, making cold calls, doing this, doing that. And my strategy right from the get-go was like, I need to be out. I need to be out mingling with these people.
Eye contact.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember my favorite moment was I was working for this company in San Francisco. It was called CRL. And at the time, they sold like wide area networks, local, like, which now is so commonplace. But I remember They wanted everybody to stay late that day because they were doing a Halloween party or some bullshit. And I got the hell out of that office at noon. I left there and just went home. And the next day they're like, where the hell did you go? I mean, we wanted you here. We had this big party, which was useless. And I said, I had a meeting down in San Jose because I was in San Francisco at the time. They're like, how could you have gone down there and promote our company? They're like, you don't even know enough about our company. And I looked at them and I was like, everybody knows who CRL is. Now, here's the problem. They knew it was bullshit, but they couldn't call me out on it because then they look bad. Right. So the guy looks at me like we both know we're lying to each other, but let's just walk away.
Just playing the game. Just playing their game.
Yeah, we know you're lying, but they can't say, there's no way that they've heard of us.
Yeah.
Because then they look bad.
Right.
So you always had to know how to play. You always had to be one cat and mouse step ahead of these guys.
How can people get in touch with you? You got
Classmates and MySpace.
Yeah, Classmates?
Remember when that thing used to be big? Classmates.com.
I never touched it.
You never did?
I never touched it.
Classmates.com. My website will be updated pretty soon, GaryCannon.com, and then they can just go to Twitter, which will be linked to you, and then my Facebook is also the same handle on the Cannon Comedy.
All right.
Those two.
I could not thank you enough, Gary Cannon.
Who was your favorite guest other than me?
Well, you're my favorite.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Worst guest.
Worst guest.
Love it.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. What was our skateboard guy? Oh gosh. Oh my God, I can't believe this.
Skip England?
Yeah. He's a great guy. He's a legend in Venice, but he just wasn't really, he just sat there and we'd ask him a question that we researched and stuff.
Sure.
Like, no, I've never done that. Like, well, it says right here in the, the LA Times, you did this. Oh,
He had really interesting stories, but yeah, he wasn't.
But even though he's a legend, Dogtown legend. I'm not dogging the guy. But he's, he just wasn't the easiest.
That's why I'm always fascinated with these people that go on like Letterman or all these talk shows, and they're like, I one time saw Ellen Page from Juno do a talk show. She was on Conan. I was like, do you really find yourself that interesting where you feel like you can just sit there and just answer questions with one word? It's like nobody gives a shit that much. You know what I mean? It's just like it really is. And then you see somebody like Bruce Willis or whoever, and they go out there with a song and dance, and they're just great guests. You know what I mean? It's like it's so funny. What do you think about Letterman retiring, by the way?
Oh, I think it's great. It's going to be bummed out. I'm going to be bummed out because it'll be the first time in 10 years I didn't get a Christmas gift from him.
Really? A Christmas gift?
I never met the guy, but I get a Christmas sweatshirt every year.
Oh, because you're with Worldwide Pants?
Even though I left Worldwide.
Right.
Yeah, I left. Yeah. They still sent me one.
That's awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Well, you guys think Colbert is going to do great?
I think it's going to be great.
I think Colbert is going to be amazing.
I do think that was a quick jump to put him on there as quickly as they did. They had so much time in the world. Yeah. It did seem like a very quick reaction to it. So that'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I will say this. I was a Letterman fan for years and years and years, and then I think over the last 3, 4, 5 years, he just got lazy. I mean, because you watch guys like Fallon who come with so much great energy, Kimmel, all these guys, and you're like, wow, you watch Letterman's bit, you're like, wow, this is the guy that I used to love, and he's just not that guy anymore. He's just the cranky old man.
It in,
he used to be so incredible, though. Like he changed, he raised the bar for everybody.
Do you think Ferguson will be back?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so because he's made enough money, and it was online, so we can talk about this. There was a bonus in his contract if he didn't get
like $10 million or something.
Well, I heard 5, and someone else said 12. But he wants to act. He wants to direct. He wants to write.
See, I would say I would disagree because I think again I don't think it's about the guy getting $10 million. I think his ego is so bruised. Because I truly, truly believe he wanted the 11:30 spot. I really do. Like I don't think you work that hard on a show and don't want that prize of 11:30.
True.
Yeah. Right. So here's what bothers me. I see this all the time. Bethany Frankel did it. They did it for the Kris Jenner show. All these shows when they get canceled, they're like, it was a great run, but I'm almost relieved that it's over with. It's like you're basically shitting on all the people that worked so hard for you over the last 6 weeks, a year, whatever it is. No, you don't really believe that because I think if the show got picked up for another year, like Bethany Frankel had the nerve to say like I'm almost relieved it didn't. It's like you really believe that? I mean, like Kris Jenner, all these other people. It's like no, I really think you get into this business because you're eyeing the 11:30 prize spot. I think he can spin it now any way he wants, saying I would rather be doing acting or this and that. I think it's a lie. I think you're deluding yourself, and I think he's got enough money with or without that bonus. Because let's say it's $10 million, right? After taxes, it's $5 million. For a guy like that, it's nothing.
Yep.
It's really nothing. I think your ego kicks in, and you're the guy that wanted the 11:30 spot. I really do. It's like, remember the guy who used to be the DJ on Ellen? He was the Tony. He was the black guy.
Yeah.
Like I remember he left and he said, I want to do acting and all this. It's like, no, you kind of got fired. You know what I mean? Like you didn't, because you could do both. But it's always that like nobody owns up or takes ownership of like, oh wow, this is the end of the road. It was a great run. Yeah. It's easier just to be like, we'll just say this.
Well, when I left Ferguson, they said Chunky was moving on to do sitcoms.
Okay.
And I'm like, if that's what you want to tell him,
sure,
cool, it's cool with me.
Was it ever assumed that Ferguson was next in line though?
You would think. Worldwide Pants. He was getting paid by Letterman.
Yeah. Did he think that? Do you have any idea?
I don't have any idea, and nor, I don't want to guess.
Right.
But all I know was I had nothing but a great fucking time with Craig Ferguson's production. That whole show, the people that put that show on a day-to-day basis are awesome. And I would lie to you if I said I didn't miss them. I miss them every day.
And by the way, without getting into it, but you were one of the few guys that had this, maybe the only guy that had this amazing contract with them, even on weeks you weren't working. And like,
I know it.
Boy, they took great care of you.
They took great care of me.
Sure.
And then even my own parking spot with Chunky B right there at CBS. I was like, man.
Wow.
And there was a moment there in a big picture of life. It doesn't mean much, but it was kind of cool for me where I could see Chunky B on the little thing for the parking. And I look up and I'm looking at the Hollywood sign.
Sure.
Even though
Agreed.
It's
pretty big. Yeah,
just a little
huge.
bit. And I tell you what, on that note, I want to say, Gary Cannon.
Thank you.
Gary Cannon, thank you for your awesomeness. You are welcome to the Garage of Love at any given time, even if the podcast is not going on. You can drink some Venice Duck with us. You can hang out with the Wizard. You guys, I'm Chunky B. You're watching 1 Degree of Chunky B in the Garage of Love. Please take a look at us at chunkyb.tv. You are awesome, and we are DONE.